Hi, I'm Nick Rue, and this is my senior project. For my senior project, I asked the question: are all the mandatory general education classes we take in high school really needed for a successful future? And my answer was no. General education shouldn't be mandatory for a successful future. First off, why did I choose this topic? Before I tell you my personal connection with this research subject, let me remind you, if you haven't gotten it already, that perception of schools is that high school general education is a must-have for a prosperous future, and doing well in all of your classes will lead you to a successful future. In my case, I never understood how it could benefit my life. This is me. Ever since I knew what a job was, I've wanted to pursue a career in art. In elementary school, other students wanted to be police officers, firefighters, or teachers, but I wanted to be an artist. All my life, I knew what I wanted to do. Creating art, animations, and winning awards was my thing. If art was the path I was so sure to head down, why did I need to take general education classes to get there? The classes wouldn't be beneficial in the end, and I would be losing valuable time I could be spending on improving my artistic abilities. Now, this is what I mean when I say classes wouldn't be beneficial. Most, if not all, of our parents have jobs. And before they got a job, most, if not all, went to high school. But why is that when we ask our parents for help on our homework, they don't seem to remember most of what they learned? According to Saul McLeod, a psychology lecturer at Wigan and Lake College, there are 3 steps to memory that determine what people can remember. The first step in this process is encoding, where information comes into the memory system through visuals, acoustics, and/or semantic. The second is storage, where information is stored and determined for how long. The last stage in this process is retrieval, where we take information out of the storage. But the problem is, if we can't remember it, we can't retrieve it. And in other words, if we leave information in storage for too long without touching it, we'll eventually forget it. According to Saul Sternberg, a professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, memory is the means by which we draw on our past experiences in order to use this information in the present. So in other words, adults tend to forget some subjects they learned in high school because they don't use it anymore. Many adults are successful in high-end fields such as law and medicine, yet don't remember what they learned in high school. Many of these adults can't remember all the general education they learned because they don't use most of it. So as an art major, I don't understand how these general education classes could benefit me for my future career. As I researched more on the topic of general education, I found that general education does not play a big role in future schooling as much as students are stressed about it during their first 12 years of their academic career. According to a recent survey by online colleges, statistics reveal that 1/3 of colleges do not require college-level math, and 61% of colleges only require students to take 3 or fewer general education subjects. With these statistics, colleges are showing that general education is important once a student has chosen to focus on one major. More statistics show that only 20% require U.S. history or government. Now in high school, U.S. history and government are required classes to take in order to graduate, but colleges don't seem to require them. If colleges don't take general education seriously, then why should it be our number 1 priority in high school? Many will argue that doing well on general education is safer and guarantees a successful future. Stephen Dutch, a professor of natural and applied sciences at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, says general education gives a basis for making informed decisions and prepares you for change. When students have general education, it creates a well-rounded person, so when they get fired from a job or changes come up, they have something to back them up. Others will argue that many students are undecided on what they want to pursue. According to Dr. Fritz H. Group, 50% of students that declare a major end up changing their major once they get into college. Taking all the general education classes in high school will better prepare students when they want to change their major in college. Dr. Group also says 80% of students going into college don't know what they want to major in. Arguments in favor of general education suggest that it's a better route to take because it's safer, and when things don't go as planned, people have backups to still keep them steady on their path to success. Although Dr. Group's statistics seem frightening, Students should still take classes in high school that line up with their majors or personalities. According to Gary R. Pike, the Executive Director of Information Management and Institutional Research at Indiana University, there is a connection between students' personalities and the majors they choose to pursue. This theory, better known as Holland's theory, is based on 6 different personality types: realistic, investigative, social, enterprising, conventional, and artistic. Realistic personalities prefer activities that involve manipulating machines and tools. They tend to dislike educational and social activities. Investigative personalities prefer activities that involve exploration, understanding, and prediction. They avoid activities that involve persuasion and sales. Social personalities prefer to teach and to help others through personal interactions, and they tend to avoid mechanical and technical tasks. Enterprising personalities prefer to persuade and direct others to attain organizational and personal goals. They avoid scientific and intellectual topics. Conventional personalities prefer to attain organizational and personal goals by establishing and maintaining orderly routines. They avoid ambiguous or unstructured activities. Artistic personalities prefer artistic, literary, and musical activities. They tend to avoid activities that require them to conform to established rules and see themselves as lacking clerical and office skills. Dr. Pike also states that there are 3 positions about students and their academic majors. 1. Students actively seek out and select majors that are compatible with their personality types. 2. Academic majors differentially reinforce and reward students' abilities and interests. And 3. Students are more likely to flourish in environments that are congruent with their personality types. If students are most likely to choose majors that match their personality types, then they shouldn't be forced to take every general education class, but just the ones that match their personalities. Narrowing the classes to personality types will allow students to gain more knowledge on subjects they could apply to themselves in their future careers by taking time away from classes they don't need. For example, as an artist, I don't believe I should be forced to take classes that match someone with a conventional personality, because the two are opposite and classes that apply to conventional most likely will not apply to me. Even though it may seem safer to take all the general education classes, I believe even if I fail my pursuit as an animator, I would still pursue a career in art. Like Pike said, students are more likely to flourish in environments that are congruent with their personality types. I believe only taking the general ed classes that could eventually benefit me in the future instead of taking all the general education classes will still give me the backup I need when I fail. Going back to well-roundedness, many will still argue that taking all the general education classes will better prepare you for a successful future. If we see the working field in today's society, we see that just about everyone is specialized in something. Being well-rounded is beneficial when a person is working by themselves, but in a group, it's better to have a specialty. If a person is too well-rounded, by the time they get to the point when they're working, they'll have just a little to contribute to their business. The way I see it is that it's like a strainer. In elementary school, you learn different subjects and have different experiences that you could apply when you get into middle school. An example of something that gets left behind is maybe your handball skills. And when in middle school, you do the same thing. You have experiences you could apply, and maybe for the well-rounded, you want to keep things safe, so during this period, you throw in a variety of different subjects. You then go into high school, lose some knowledge, and you get another wave of experiences and variety. You hit college and you lose a good amount of things you learn. But it's okay, you still have to keep it safe. You realize maybe we could add some of that stuff we want to focus on. But by then you get into the working field and your amount of contribution isn't as much as you like it to be. I have a family friend that graduated from Berkeley with straight A's but couldn't find a job. No one wanted to hire him because he was too well-rounded. He was equally good at a lot of things but not excellent at one. Because of the struggle I see in being too well-rounded, I like to lean more on specializing. My life in the strainer system looks a little different than others. As I go through the different phases, I like to add a little more water. Doing bare minimum in general education will give me more time to grow in the career I want to pursue. It might not seem safe, but I believe that if you really want to do something, you'll find a way to get it, and in the end, it'll pay off to make a greater contribution. To conclude, Although it creates a well-rounded student and gives the student the appearance of being intelligent, I didn't find it necessary for everyone to take all the mandatory classes in high school to graduate. Through research and experience, I believe society could be more efficient if students were to focus on pursuing their careers and perfecting their specialties early on. General education develops career depending on the classes students take. But taking all the general education classes should not be mandatory for a successful future.